Hello friends, this is probability day 2. This is for either Tuesday, March 31st or for my even black classes on Wednesday, April 1st. Hope everyone's doing well. Here's our anticipatory set. The table below shows the speeds of cars as they pass a certain mile marker on Highway 36. The speed limit is 65 miles per hour. What is the total number of cars that pass the marker? What is the probability that a car stopped at random will be traveling faster than the speed limit? Okay, so we want to find the total number of cars that pass the marker of the speed limit 65. So if I take a look at the table right here, this number here is telling me 13 cars were over 65 miles per hour that passed that speed. What's the probability that a car stopped at random will be traveling faster than the speed limit? So I would take my 13 divided by the total amount of cars. So I'd have to add up 2 and 12 and 23 and 13. And if I add those up, I get 50. So those traveling faster than the speed limit, what's the probability? There are 13 out of 50 cars there. All right, so today we're going to be moving on to ELR 13.2. This is calculating probabilities from a frequency table, similar to the anticipatory set, and understanding, again, the difference between theoretical versus experimental probability. So the homework due by the end of the day today is that Pearson Online Quiz 10.8. We still have the same homework for the B block from the actual textbook. And again, at the very end of today's lesson, you'll be submitting a Google Form quiz as your attendance and answering a question about what the lesson was today. All right, so we're going to start with ELR 13.2. First question I want you to think about is, for 30 seconds, is what is a frequency table? Okay, a frequency table displays how often an item appears in a category. Relative frequency is a fancy way of giving the ratio of the frequency of the category to the total frequency. So relative frequency is just like doing your basic probability that we did from last class. The possible outcomes over the total outcomes. Here, instead, we'll be looking at a table. So let's take a look at this table here. You can copy this in your notes. It's a type of music preferred and the frequency of people that prefer that type of music. What is the relative frequency that they prefer rock music? So we're going to be writing it as a fraction. So we need to figure out how many people prefer rock music. From the table, it's 10. And then if I go ahead and add up all of those frequency numbers here on the side, it comes out to be a total of 40 altogether. So the relative frequency that they prefer rock music is 10 out of 40. Or if I reduce it, it would be 1/4. Okay, here's another second example of a frequency table. A student conducts a probability experiment by tossing 3 coins, one after the other. What is the probability that exactly, and I'm stressing that one, exactly 2 heads will occur in the next 3 tosses? So we need to figure out which ones are they referencing. So exactly 2 heads. Here is my first possibility. Here's my second possibility. And here's my third possibility. Because it says exactly 2 heads, we can't include the result of head, head, head. All right, so now let's add up those frequency numbers. 7 plus 6 plus 2. We get it to be 15 out of, we're going to add up the total here of all the frequencies. That comes out to be 50. If I reduce this, I get it to be 0.3. And if I want it as a percent, that would be 30% chance of getting exactly 2 heads in the next 3 tosses. All right, the next thing for your notes for ELR 13.2 is something called a probability distribution. It shows the probability of each possible outcome, and this is shown up as in a table. So we're going to do this following example, and I'd like you guys to set up your table too. We're going to set up a table with the frequency and the probability distribution for each test score here. So this question is about a given math test. There were 10 scores between 90 and 100%. There were 12 scores between 80 and 89. There were 15 scores between 70 and 79, and 8 scores between 60 and 69, 2 scores below 60. All right, so I put my rows as a score, frequency, and then the probability. On the top, let's go ahead and actually put what the scores are. So I guess we'll start with the highest, doesn't really matter. This is going to be from 90 to 100. Then we have from 80 to 89, 70 to 79, 60 to 69, and then 0 to 59. All right, make sure you copied your table. Now we're going to actually put the frequency that it says in the problem above. So there were 10 that scored between 90 and 100, 12 between 80 and 89, 15 scored 70 to 79, 8 here, and then 2 below the 60. The last row that I want to fill in is the actual probability of each of these scores. So if I want to know the total amount, which I need, I'm going to add up the 10, the 12, 15, 8, and 2. And I have 47 total scores. So that's going to be my denominator for each of these. And my numerator is going to be what's in each box above. 10 out of 47 is the probability of someone between 90 and 100. 12 out of 47 is the probability of someone getting a score between 80 and 89, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that was a pretty quick lesson for section 13.2 for today. Please make sure that you've completed the end of the day by today, the Pearson Online Quiz 10.8. So this only took about like 10 minutes, this lesson. So definitely do that. Your other choice is to get started on your homework, which is due Thursday/Friday from those 2 sections in the textbook. And again, if there are any questions from those specific questions on the homework, please let me know. So with any time remaining in this block period, you should be doing your homework. And once you're done with that homework, I have on the next slide the closure, which is what you're going to be filling out as your attendance and answering the question that's there. Okay, and once you've finished your homework, here's the closure. It has a frequency table here. You're going to be seeing the same table on the Google form to submit your attendance and the work for the closure below via that Google form in Google Classroom. Hope everyone's doing well again. Thursday/Friday's lesson is going to be the use of the calculator. Those that were not able to or don't own a Texas Instrument calculator, there are different possibilities that you could look up and download online, either through your phone. They're still attempting to get this beta version of the TI Instrument calculator. And once they do, I'll definitely send you the link so that you could download it on the Chromebook and use it that way. So for the next lesson, we will be needing the calculator. Again, please email me if there's any questions about or concerns about something.